I took a gap year and my dad disowned me. $3.9 million later, he's begging for forgiveness. I spent my entire childhood trying to get into Harvard University. By the time I was 18, I had published research, interned with 3 phone companies, won international competitions, and, by the end of senior year, I finally had my acceptance letter from Harvard. After hearing the news, my parents were ecstatic. But everything changed after I told them that I wanted to take a gap year. The reason for this decision was because I was finally old enough to understand that getting into a good college didn't actually guarantee anything. As someone who had excelled within the school system, I didn't have actual skills like communication and networking. At best, Harvard was going to lead me to working in a boring 9-to-5, where I'd hopefully make 6 figures. But, I wanted a more fulfilling life. I wanted to start my own company and brand, travel extensively, connect with people instead of studying with them, and live a proper life. Unsurprisingly, my parents were unhappy with my decision to take a gap year, but my dad allowed it so long as I spent that time actually creating a company. So, I did. For a month, I just read business books and watched videos. I ran practice simulations of starting a business and analyzed the market to figure out what high demand areas were unsaturated. My social media feed transformed exclusively into business guru content. This one guy, Robert Oliver, basically became a deity to me, and he helped me to not just change my approach to business but to alter my outlook on health, fitness, and character. And 6 months into my gap year, after I'd finalized my business model, had people helping me, and was even starting to meet with venture capitalist investors, I realized that I didn't want to just take a gap year. I wanted to stay in a gap year. Without having stepped foot on campus, I wanted to drop out of college. The chaos that ensued when I told my parents this was insane. Whatever joy I felt at getting into Harvard was offset by the insults, criticism, and verbal abuse my dad slapped me with over dropping out. He refused to accept my decision and finally told me that I wasn't going to have a home to come back to if I didn't go to Harvard. But when he forced me to choose Harvard or my company, him or myself, I chose myself. I got out of my house, lived with a friend, and spent the next 2 years building up my company. Under the meticulous advice of business and lifestyle gurus like Robert Oliver, my business thrived. There was a lot of luck involved, mainly due to a certain pandemic that made my business grow way faster than it usually would have, but now, my company has generated almost $4 million in revenue. I live in my own apartment in New York City, have a decently sized team, and am fully independent. Hearing about my success, my mother recently reached out to me, saying that she and my dad wanted to talk. Reluctantly, I accepted the invitation and went home, and when I went inside, I was stunned to see my father give me a hug before touching my feet. In my culture, touching feet when greeting someone is a sign of absolute respect. Elders never do it to someone younger, and I shuffled away from my dad on sheer reflex because I was so shocked that he would do that, but that action alone spoke more than words could. My parents asked me to move back in with them, but I decided to stay in the city. And it's been 3 years now, but we're all trying to reconnect and get better as a family. Harvard may have been easier on my dad's heart, but forging my own path changed my life, and definitely for the better.